with CM Punk spotted and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Touching on the changes in WWE under Triple H, Michael Cole told his former broadcast partner Pat McAfee, "Everything has been great. It's been a great change of scenery the past couple of months. Things are going wonderfully. Ratings have been good. Stories have been great. It's a different world. I worked under Vince for 25 years and I knew nothing else. He's a second dad in many ways. I grew up in the company. It was a shock when it first happened, and we've all settled in and realized the show must go on. The show is going on and we're doing well." For an interview with Vlad TV, Ken Shamrock recalled his departure from WWE, admitting that he had trust issues with the company. "I already felt like I was being clumped into groups and that I was just kind of a side thing now. Like whatever storyline was over here, we would just do. It didn't make any sense. It just didn't feel like they knew what to do with me from that point. It just felt like I was just there. I just felt like they weren't really using me at the level that I thought I should have been used just because of where I came from. And for me to stay there and just be second fiddle when I could go and do something and be first fiddle, especially with how I was able to draw and bring in crowds and make more money, I felt like I could do that better in the mixed martial arts world because it came back. So that's when I decided, like, if they're not going to use me and really put me in anything that's serious, then I'm gonna move on." And it was always in the back of my head too that it was different there too because that trust was kind of broken. Talking about AEW's use of the exploding barbed wire death match, Mick Foley criticized the promotion for this on his podcast, saying that, "I'm not sure barbed wire is the best way to take advantage of Kenny's huge gifts. They had a little trouble with these stipulations. You either stay on one side of the road or the other. If you design it to be in the middle, it gets squashed like a grape, even if that's just emotionally." When asked about the differences between being in WWE and AEW, Renee Paquette said on the AEW Unrestricted podcast, "It feels so much better. It's really nice to go to a wrestling show and just be a fan and hang out. But I'm neurotic, and I'm like, I should be working. I should be doing something. So I felt like I don't want to say out of place, because that feeling is completely on myself. Not anybody else making me feel that way. But I'm so used to being a wrestling show and working and being busy and being useful. So to be there and just be hanging out was a little off for me. But now that I'm actually in there and working, it's funny, I feel like my first day. Because normally when I'm there, I'm just kind of like hanging with Jon Moxley, kind of following him around, seeing what he's doing. But now I'm like, deuces, see you at the end of the day." With former NWA World Champ Nick Aldis being suspended from the promotion after requesting his release and criticizing the company in interviews, NWA star Trevor Murdoch had this to say about it to PW Torch. "Mine and Nick's relationship hasn't fallen apart, and I have all the respect in the world for Nick as a pro wrestler. I also have respect for him for being one of the guys to help speak up for me to bring me into the NWA. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. So I have a ton of gratitude for Nick in that aspect. I think where the heat is with Billy with Nick is the fact that Nick wasn't happy with, I'm only repeating what he said, he wasn't happy with the company. He wasn't happy with the relationship between what was going on between him and Billy. My only issue was I didn't agree with Nick dragging the company and dragging the guys in it. When you start making comments like the show's too embarrassing for me to be a part of, first off, I think that's a little BS. Secondly, you're disrespecting all the men and women that you know. Nick's not the only part of the show. And since we've started Power, it hasn't been Power about Nick. It's been NWA Power. So there's been a lot of talented wrestlers that have come through there that's helped make NWA successful. And I just don't think bringing all those men and women into the middle of your argument or your public squabble, I just don't don't think that was the right thing to do. If Nick and Billy want to air out personal grievances, I also think that both sides of the story need to be told. It's easy for someone to be in a position that's leaving to just say what they feel they need to say to get the, I guess maybe, the public opinion to be swayed their way. There are two sides to every story. It's very easy for everybody to jump on the negative end and say that's how it was because it's a lot juicier. You know what I mean? It's a lot more exciting. But there's only half stories being told on some of this. And I think the NWA and Billy have taken a stand on being a little bit more professional and not interested in airing those grievances publicly. There's a way to go about doing it in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and I'm sure I'll get heat. I'm sure I'll piss some people off, but if you're on your way out and you have issues with the company, how big are those issues really if you bring them up publicly, not personally to the person you have the issue with? If I'm angry and upset with somebody, and I'm really angry and upset with them, I go to that individual first and air my grievances, and at the very least, tell them how I feel. I don't go public about it first, and then expect to have a conversation or expect some sort of civil conversation after that. Recalling Brock Lesnar's loss of the WWE title to Big Show at the 2002 Survivor Series, Jim Ross said on his podcast, "It is crazy. It's illogical. Why do we need to change the championship? And I wouldn't have booked that match. The match should have never happened if I had the proverbial pencil, which has the most powerful weapon in all of wrestling on one end, the eraser. Would have never booked it. Again, protect your attraction. These 7 foot, 500 pound, 400 pound, whatever guys come up, they don't come along that often. He's an attraction that can't be replaced as far as look and perception and size. So it was crazy. Don't book that match. Book another match that Brock and go out and have an athletic contest with." You noticed that they kept this mess short because they didn't want to overexpose either guy, and to have a title match that goes 4 minutes and one of your biggest stars, who is going to be one of your biggest stars in the company, gets beat in 4 minutes. I don't know what we accomplished. I really don't. With him being a former NXT UK champion, Gunther was asked by Steve Fall on 10 Count how he felt about the brand closing down, as he said, "I gotta be honest, no, I wasn't really sad. I think it was a natural progression. I think it was great that it lasted through the pandemic. It was very difficult to do. Everybody put the work in to make it as good as possible, but for me, even when I started in NXT UK, I was always thinking it would be Europe-wide, because at some point, a lot of the key players in NXT were not from the UK, they were European. We had a bunch of Europeans that did really well, so I always wanted that progression to happen. I'm really excited for it." Gunther would also mention his early elimination from the 2019 Survivor Series match. Yeah, that's just how things go sometimes. There's not much you can say. There was a decision that was made, and you go along with it and try to make the best out of it. I don't think it was negative. When I started doing my bit in that match and then getting eliminated early, I think that did something to me. I think it added to my popularity in that sense because a lot of people spoke out about it. I think no harm was done, and everybody needs to take a humbling experience here and there. So I'm totally fine with it. Revealing WWE's previous plans for the Clash at the Castle pay-per-view earlier in the year, Louis Stangor reported that Triple H considered giving Drew McIntyre either the WWE or Universal title at Clash at the Castle, with Roman Reigns keeping the other in a convoluted way that would have involved both Austin Theory and Tyson Fury. WrestleVotes added that the only thing they could think of was with Austin Theory. He was going to somehow make it known that he was only cashing in for one of the belts. Therefore, it became a triple threat, and Tyson Fury stopped him like he did, and Drew would then take one of the titles. For whatever reason, that didn't work. And it sounds really convoluted. I don't know how you're going to pull it off on TV. They wanted to make the title separate in the moment because they do want 2 titles again, but they're struggling to figure out how. I do know that they were talking up until maybe night of or day over here. When it comes to a return for WWE, PW Insider reported that Bobby Roode was spotted in Birmingham, Alabama yesterday, and asking around this morning, we are told the hope is he'll be back soon from his injury issues. We are told that he's been talked about for the SmackDown brand when he returns. Taking to Instagram, AEW star Saraya would let fans know that she is unable to take part in an event, writing, "Due to unforeseen circumstances, I will no longer be appearing at the big event, Cash the Day of Now. This Saturday, November 12th, we are working with the team at Heroes Hideout to reschedule my appearance for March 2023. Please stay locked into heroeshideoutshop.com as they have more information once we confirm the new date." With many wondering what is next for CM Punk, who has not been seen in AEW or in public much at all since his comments during the post-All Out media scrum, it seems he has returned to commentating. John Morgan posted a picture of himself with Punk as he is calling the action for CFFC MMA on UFC Fight Pass. It remains to be seen if Punk returns to AEW following the investigation into the brawl between himself and the Elite. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.